The New Jersey Educational
Good
Facilities
morning.
Authority gave notice of the time, place, and date of this meeting by email on June 18th, 2024 to the Star Ledger, the Times of Trenton, the Secretary of State, and by posting the notice at the offices of the authority in Princeton, New Jersey, and on the authority's website. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, a resolution must be passed by the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority in order to hold a session from which the public is excluded. Cheryl, would you please read the roll?
Josh Hodis,
Here.
Richie Hutchinson,
Here.
Luis Rodriguez,
Here.
Brian Feeney,
Here.
Dr. Bridges,
Here.
Eric Ingstrom.
Here.
We also have on the Zoom call this morning, I believe I saw Sam Kovac-Orr from the Governor's Authorities Unit, Jeffrey Paget from the Attorney General's Office, Steve Nelson, Ellen Yang, Brian Sitkus, Carl McDonald, and Rebecca Crespo from the Authority. With respect to the grant agreements matter, I believe I saw Duri Kressel from CSG Law, Bond Counsel to the Authority. Finally, we have Derek McNeil of Senior Manager on the recently priced and closed SIP and HEF transactions. I believe he's also joining the meeting. And Josh, I will turn it over to you to welcome our new member.
Great, thank you, everybody. Before we get started, on behalf of the board and the staff, I would like to introduce our new board member, Eric Youngstrom, who was appointed by Governor Murphy to the Authority Board in November. Eric is an attorney and co-managing partner at Lemuro Munson LLC, where he heads the firm's workers' compensation and personal injury departments. He is a member of several professional associations, including the Monmouth Bar Association, the New Jersey Advisory Council on Safety and Health, and the New Jersey Association of Justice. He's also a trustee with HABCOR, a nonprofit that helps provide housing and services for people experiencing homelessness. He previously served as a council member in Red Bank. Eric, we are excited to welcome you to the board. We appreciate your public service and willingness to dedicate your time and talents to supporting New Jersey's higher education. And as somebody who lives down the shore and sees your face almost on a daily basis on the billboard about a half a mile from my house, it's finally good to meet you in person and have to hear the voice that goes with the Lemuro Munson billboard on Route 71 in Manasquan. So nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be a part of this. So,
very happy to have you. Thanks again. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 1. And I'd like to remind the members that only those who attended the prior meeting or those who have familiarized themselves with the minutes should vote. And with that said, I'd like to request a motion approving the minutes of the October 22nd, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion?
so moved.
So moved, Louis.
Great. I think there was a moved by Lewis, and did somebody else second? I thought I heard.
Bridges second.
Great. Thank you, Secretary Bridges. Cheryl, please read the roll.
Josh Hodis,
Yes.
Richie Hutchinson,
Yes.
Luis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Brian Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Ingstrom.
I'll abstain as this is my first meeting.
Understood.
Great. Thank
Motion
you.
carries.
Perfect. Thank you. I'd now like to ask Cheryl to please provide the Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Josh. I have 2 updates in my report this morning. Both are matters as we are looking towards the start of 2025. The first is that the authority is actively monitoring post-election developments in the realm of tax reform and any potential ramifications that they could have on the higher education sector, such as restrictions on market access for any of our college and university borrowers. There is some speculation within the industry that the tax exemption on municipal bonds could be under pressure, particularly private activity bonds, which include qualified 501c3 bonds issued by private colleges and universities, among others. I've also read reports of concerns about potential taxation on university endowments, as well as other topics. At our January 28th meeting, PFM Asset Management will be invited to not only give a report on our 2024 investment portfolio performance for both authority operating and college bond funds, But also I'm hoping they'll provide a look ahead to 2025 post-election potential reforms that may impact our municipal bond market. As for now, however, there is a great deal of uncertainty surrounding any tax reform initiatives, and the authority is monitoring developments along with many of its industry partners. For example, NAHEFA, which is the national organization that represents higher education and healthcare issuers, has a very strong and experienced advocate in Chuck Samuels and his colleagues at Mintz Levin in Washington, D.C. His team has already begun contact with individual NAHEFA members with information on potential tax reform initiatives and preparation for a potential appeal to members to reach out to their own congressional representatives based on how things may develop. But, you know, again, I underscore that there's tremendous uncertainty at this point in time. It's early, but I just wanted to put that on your radar as something that we are monitoring. And, you know, certainly Steve and I will be reporting and having discussions with the governor's office and reporting up, you know, to the board as things develop. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Cheryl. Any,
Okay.
my colleagues have any questions for Cheryl? All right, hearing none.
Nope. Okay, my second update this morning is on the authority's anticipated move to new office space in the spring of 2025. As you know, the authority's current lease expires at the end of the month. On March 26th, the authority adopted a resolution approving a proposal with agreed upon terms to execute a new lease agreement with 5 Vaughn LLC for office space in Princeton at 5 Vaughn Drive. And that office lease was intended to commence January 1. It was an 8-year term through August 31, 2023. We executed that lease on July 12th this year. And you'll recall that we came back to the board on October 22nd. And the board adopted a resolution approving a first amendment of the lease with the landlord, reflecting a correction in the square footage and agreeing to share the additional rental costs associated with the increased square footage. The negotiations, as previously reported, have caused a delay in the authority's originally planned January 1st commencement of the new lease. Based on most recent estimates of the landlord's construction manager, the delivery of the office space is now anticipated for spring, you know, probably in the April to May timeframe. Construction permits were submitted to Westminster Township last month and are expected to be approved in January. As the new office space won't be ready for occupancy for a few months, authority staff has evaluated options for temporary space, which include short-term extension on a month-to-month basis at our current office location and/or temporary remote work from home until the delivery of the new office space. As you know, authority staff is already working remotely 2 days per week, and we've been doing that for the better part of 2 years. Management has determined in evaluating the options that the most cost-effective solution is to remain in our current space for 1 additional month through the end of January, at which time we will move furnishings and equipment into storage and work remotely until delivery of the new space. The total cost of the authority's physical move is $63,000, which includes additional rent for the holdover month of January 2025. And of that, $41,000 represents an increase in move-related costs due to the delays, such as additional rent and storage costs. It also assumes a May 1st, 2025 occupancy in the new space. So we're hoping this time frame is shorter, and it may very well be. We're working remotely rather than continuing in the current space and paying additional rent on a month-to-month basis. The authority will save approximately $20,000 per month in additional rent, a monthly savings that we will continue to achieve until permanent occupancy at Vaughn Drive. I'd like to highlight, before I wrap this up, the really tremendous work that staff has done over the last year in anticipation of this office move, in particular to digitize 55 years of authority records and files. Though the entire staff has been engaged in this effort to convert the authority to a paperless environment, management of the project, the most of the work has been accomplished by a few individuals. I just want to call them out: Jamie O'Donnell, Kristen Middleton, Rebecca Crespo, Ellen Yang, and more recently, Lynn Acasano. This initiative is approximately 80% complete. We'll continue it, once we move to the new space, but it is already making a huge impact in downsizing the, physical footprint of the community. So, great effort there, and a thanks to them. That concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Cheryl, thanks so much. Any questions on either of Cheryl's updates or anything additional? Okay, thank you again.
Yep.
Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 2. I am going to be recusing myself from this next item, this next resolution, due to my firm's having a business relationship with both the Stevens Institute of Technology and St. Elizabeth University, because these two institutions entered into grant agreements with the authority that are the subject of the next resolution. So I'm going to now ask Ridgely Hutchinson, Vice Chair, to preside over the next item of consideration. Ridgely?
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, everyone. We have a resolution before you of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority authorizing an amendment to certain grant agreements entered into under the Higher Educational Capital Improvement Fund Act, Higher Educational Facilities Trust Fund Act, the Higher Education Technology Infrastructure Fund Act, and certain lease agreements entered into under the Higher Education Equipment Leasing Fund Act. And I would like to ask Ellen Yang to fill us in on the details.
Thank you, Ridgely. So this resolution is about the grant agreements and lease agreements that colleges enter into with EFA if they receive an award under the authority's higher educational capital facilities grant programs. Under these grant agreements, the grantees are required to provide annual compliance reports to the authority about the use of grant funds and the use of projects that were financed with these grant funds. All of the grantees also must provide their audited financial statements on an annual basis. Private institution grantees have an additional requirement. They must provide the authority with their IRS Form 990 every year. After consultation with Bond Counsel, CSG Law, and the AG's office, it's been determined that this Form 990 requirement is not necessary. We can amend the grant agreements and lease agreements to remove this requirement. The reasoning is that the authority's post-issuance compliance policy and procedures and the annual compliance reporting process sufficiently monitor post-issuance compliance of the bonds that were issued to finance these grants. This resolution approves the form of amendments to the grant agreements and lease agreements for the private institution grantees. These forms were posted to the portal for the members' review. This resolution also authorizes the authority representative to execute the amendments with the grantees, and they were all listed in Exhibit A to the resolution. Dorit Kressel, Bond Counsel from CSG Law, and I would be happy to answer any questions that the members may have.
Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Ellen, for that excellent explanation of the resolution. So we have a resolution before you of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority authorizing an amendment to certain grant agreements entered into under the Higher Educational Capital Improvement Fund Act, the Higher Educational Facilities Trust Fund Act, the Higher Education Technology Infrastructure Fund Act, and certain lease agreements entered into under the Higher Education Equipment Leasing Fund Act. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Eric. Do we have a second?
Second, Louis.
Second from Louis. Cheryl,
Yes.
please the roll.
Josh Hodis is recused. Ridgely Hutchinson,
Yes.
Luis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Cheryl. Now I'd like to turn the meeting back over to Chairman Hodes.
Thank you, Ridge. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 3 for a resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority approving the appointment of a challenged credit financial advisor. And I'd like to ask Rebecca to please introduce the resolution.
Thanks, Josh. Today, the members are being asked to approve a resolution authorizing the selection of both a primary and secondary challenge credit financial advisor. The primary challenge credit financial advisor will provide advisory services on select matters relating to institutions considered to have challenge credit. In the event the primary challenge credit financial advisor has a conflict of interest as determined by the authority and in consultation with the state's attorney general's office, the secondary challenge credit financial advisor will be engaged. The highest scored firm in the evaluation process will be recommended as the authority's primary challenge credit financial advisor, and the second highest scored will be recommended as the authority's secondary challenge credit financial advisor. On October 31st, 2024, authority staff distributed an amended RFP for challenge credit financial advisory services to 6 firms and received 4 responses from firms seeking appointment as the authority's challenge credit financial advisor. The RFP was also posted on the authority's website as well as the state's website. In accordance with the authority's policies and procedures, responses to the RFP were evaluated by the authority's evaluation committee comprised of the project manager and the associate project manager. The evaluation committee reviewed the responses based on factors outlined in Executive Order 26 and Executive Order 37, including qualifications, expertise, and price. The firm with the first and second highest overall scores were Public Resource Advisory Group and Callow Hill Capital Advisors, respectively. As such, the authority recommends that Prague be appointed as primary challenge credit financial advisor and Callow Hill be appointed as secondary challenge credit financial advisor for the authority for a 24-month term commencing on or about December 10th, 2024 and ending on or about December 9th, 2026, with an optional 2 additional successive 12-month terms at the authority's discretion. If the members have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any questions for Rebecca? Hearing none, a resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority approving the appointment of a challenged credit financial advisor. I'd like to request a motion approving the resolution.
So move, Lewis.
Moved by Lewis. I will second. Cheryl, please read the roll.
Josh Hodis,
Yes.
Ridgely Hutchinson,
Yes.
Luis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom.
Yes.
All in favor?
Great, thank you. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 4 for a resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority increasing the compensation of the Executive Director and Deputy Executive Director for calendar year 2025. And I will now introduce the resolution. The Executive Director is an officer of the authority appointed by the authority with general supervision and administrative authority over the authority's activities. The Deputy Executive Director is an officer of the authority appointed by the authority and has all of the powers and duties of the Executive Director in the absence of the Executive Director, and such other duties and powers conferred upon the Deputy Executive Director by the bylaws, by any resolution adopted by the authority, or by the Executive Director. The attached resolution authorizes a 4% increase in compensation for both the Executive Director and Deputy Executive Director effective January 1st, 2025. A resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority increasing the compensation of the Executive Director and Deputy Executive Director for calendar year 2025. I would like to request them, I'll move the resolution. I'd like to request a second.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Ridgely. Yep, great, thank you. Cheryl, please read the roll.
Josh Hodis,
Yes.
Ridgely Hutchinson,
Yes.
Luis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom.
Yes.
All in favor? Thank you.
Great, thank you. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 5 for a resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority adopting the operating and capital budgets for calendar year 2025. I'd like to ask Ryan to please introduce the resolution.
Great. Thanks, Josh. The authority annually prepares the operating and capital budgets for the following calendar year. Pursuant to the authority's bylaws, the Finance Committee, comprising the Chair, the Treasurer, and the Executive Director, reviews the budget and recommends the annual budget to the Board for adoption. As such, on November 22nd, 2024, the Finance Committee, comprised of our Chair, Josh Hodis, the Executive Director, and I, met to discuss and consider the staff's proposed 2025 operating and capital budgets. The proposed operating and capital budgets in summary form are included in your materials. If there are no questions or comments from the members, the Finance Committee recommends your approval of the authority's 2025 operating and capital budgets as presented.
Thanks, Ryan. Any questions from any of the members? Hearing none, resolution of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority adopting the operating and capital budgets for calendar year 2025. I'd like to request a motion approving the resolution.
So moved.
Moved, and is there a second?
I'll second. Ryan?
Thank
second,
you, Ryan. Cheryl, would you please read the roll?
Josh Otis,
Yes.
Richie Hutchinson,
Yes.
Louis Rodriguez,
yes,
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom,
Yes.
all in favor.
Great, thank you. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 6 for a report on the sale of NJEFA Higher Education Facilities Trust Fund Refunding Bond Series 2024A. And I'd like to ask Steve to please give the report.
Thank you, Josh. On December 4th, the authority closed its $85,455,000 Higher Ed Facilities Trust Fund Revenue Refunding Bond issue, which were issued to refund the remaining Series 2014 HEFT bonds. The bonds were sold on a negotiated basis on November 20th by Siebert Williams Shank, who served as senior manager, and Janney Montgomery Scott and Loop Capital Markets, who served as co-managers. The bonds have a true interest cost of 3.12% and have a final maturity of May 15th, 2029. The bonds are rated A2 by Moody's, A- by S&P, and single A by Fitch. Other financing professionals included CSG Law, who served as bond counsel, and Acacia Financial Group, who served as financial advisor to the state. If there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them at this time.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll turn to tab 7 for a report on the NJEFA Revenue Refunding Bonds Higher Education Capital Improvement Fund Issue Series 2024A, and I will turn it back over to Steve.
Thanks again, Josh. Simultaneously with the HEFT refunding bonds and with the same financing team, the authority successfully priced and closed $97,965,000 of Higher Education Capital Improvement Fund refunding bonds, which were issued to refund the remaining Series 24 SIF bonds. The SIF refunding bonds have a true interest cost of 3.16% and have a final maturity of August 1st, 2023. The state and participating institutions achieved net present value savings of more than 7.8 million, or 4.1% across both refunding transactions. As Cheryl noted in her introduction, Derek McNeil from Siebert Williams Shank has joined the meeting, and I'd like to open the meeting up to him to say any final remarks on the financing. Derek?
I thank you. Good morning, Steve, and thank you, members of the board, and Dr. Bridges and Cheryl. We really appreciated the opportunity to serve as an underwriter, the lead underwriter on this transaction. As Steve mentioned, it was a successful transaction. It was aggressively priced. It was structured, both series of bonds were structured to provide annual level savings for the state's budget, and the refunding escrows were optimized to maximize savings for the state and each higher education institution. During the order period, we received significant investor demand for the transaction, close to 600 million in total priority orders for the bonds, which made it 3.2 times oversubscribed. And we brought to the table 25 new investors to the credits. The strength of the order book allowed the firm, us, to lower credit spreads by 2 to 13 basis points across the yield curve. And ultimately, Siebert Williams Shank underwrote 30.3 million of the bonds, or 17% of the transaction, as when we did bump with the oversubscription, a bulk of the investors dropped out, but that's why you hire underwriters to actually underwrite. And so we did underwrite the transaction, and we were able to get those bonds off of the books within the same week at no loss. So again, we really appreciated the opportunity to serve. We appreciated the opportunity to put our capital at risk. And again, if it weren't for the leadership of Cheryl, Steve, Dr. Bridges, and the state, I guess Ryan Feeney and his team, this would not have gotten done. So again, on behalf of Suzanne Shank and the rest of the partners at Siebert, we really appreciated the opportunity, and congratulations.
Thank you, Derek. Any questions for us at this time?
Great, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Derek. Now I'd like to ask everyone to please turn to tab 8 for a report on the operating and construction fund statements and disbursements. And I'd like to ask Brian to please give the report for October.
Thank you, Josh. The authority concluded October with a year-to-date net operating income in the amount of $2.2 million based on year-to-date revenues of $4.5 million and expenses of $2.3 million. Year-to-date revenues were $941,000 more than projected due to an increase in initial fees and annual fees relating to a higher number of bond series closing and due to the timing of investment income. Operating expenditures for the first 10 months of the year were under budget by $771,000, primarily due to the timing of expenditures.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to request a motion approving Brian's report.
So moved.
Moved by
So
Rich.
moved
I
by
will
Lewis.
Moved by Rich, seconded by Lewis. Cheryl, would you please
Lewis,
read
yes.
the roll?
Josh Otis,
Yes.
Richie Hutchinson,
Yes.
Luis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom,
Yes.
all in favor.
Thank you. Before we conclude, I'd like to take a moment and announce the resignation of Vice Chair Ridgely Hutchinson from the authority. Ridge has been on the board for the last 17 years of service to the authority, the state, its colleges and universities. Ridgely has been on the board my entire tenure here. And I've been fortunate enough to chair this board for the last few years with Ridgely as my partner as vice chair. And I don't think with the pleasure that I've had doing that, I don't think a decision that I've made, I haven't consulted Ridgely on it. He's certainly, I've looked to him as a partner with me as we've been entrusted with the responsibilities that come with being the chair and vice chair of the authority. I'm certainly going to miss his friendship and his thoughtful nature and his thoughtful conduct in dealing with the board and the staff and the importance that he placed with the activities as a member of the board. Whether he was asked to serve on a committee, we'd always jump in. He retired from his day job a few years ago and has an exciting new career that he's embarked in and has always made time for the authority, for the staff. And I know it's been something that he's had some pleasure in over the years, and I wanted to thank him for that and for his service. I'm now going to ask Cheryl to please read a resolution of appreciation for Ridgely. Cheryl?
Thank you, Josh. A resolution of appreciation to Richard Hutchinson. Whereas in December 2008, Richard Hutchinson was appointed by the Honorable John Corzine, Governor of State of New Jersey, with the advice and consent of the New Jersey Senate, to serve as a member of the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority. And whereas Mr. Hutchinson continued to serve the authority through the administrations of Governor Chris Christie and Governor Phil Murphy, and whereas on May 25th, 2010, Mr. Hutchinson was elected to serve as the board's chair, a position which he was reelected to a record 14 times, making him the longest serving vice chair in the authority's history. And whereas Mr. Hutchinson has resigned from the board effective January 1, 2025, and whereas for 17 years, Mr. Hutchinson has committed his extensive time and professionalism to the authority and its college and university clients throughout the state. And whereas during Mr. Hutchinson's tenure on the authority's board, the authority has approved $9,972,571 $1,115 in finance for New Jersey's institution for higher education to expand, maintain, and modernize higher education facilities throughout the state, including approximately $5 billion in new money, $1.5 billion in grants, and $4.9 billion in refundings. The refundings which resulted in $499,890,576 in present value savings for institutions. And whereas the authorities board and staff wish to extend their sincerest appreciation to Mr. Hutchinson for his leadership, dedication, and efforts on behalf of the authority, now therefore be it resolved that the New Jersey Educational Facilities Authority hereby expresses its sincere appreciation to Mr. Hutchinson for his dedicated public service, which has advanced New Jersey higher education through significantly enhanced facilities at New Jersey's public and private colleges and universities. Mr. Hutchinson's legacy has continue to benefit future generations of New Jersey's college students, and all of the citizens of New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the authority extends its best wishes to Mr. for great success in all of his future endeavors. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution of appreciation be sent to Mr. Hutchinson as a tribute to New Jersey authority for his dedicated public service. And if I could add to that just a little bit, I just personally want to say how grateful we are, Ridgely, for your service to the state and to the authority. Your time on the board has been so impactful in so many ways, from your staunch support of colleges and universities across the credit spectrum, including those with challenges that also need access to low-cost capital, to your advocacy for diversity in all aspects of authority business, from its operations to procurement matters and beyond, and most recently your support of staff in the search and security new office space for the authority, and your tireless advocacy for authority staff, including matters of fair wages over the years. It's been such a pleasure to serve with you. On behalf of the staff, we just want to say thank you and how grateful we are.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Before I get to say something?
Of course, you did almost 10 billion worth of deals on your time here. I think we can round up on that one. We'll let you've got the floor.
I kind of had something ready, now I can't see. And you really threw me when you put the picture up. I sure wish I still looked like that. It has been an honor for both my board members and to work closely with the staff members of such a really great authority, association, organization, what have you. You know, I can't say enough about all the great work that we've done, and how much I'm going to miss working with all of you, and how much I'm going to miss my surfing sessions being interrupted by meetings and not being able to and except by sitting in my truck while the waves were crashing on the beach. But that only happened a couple times. I didn't do that a lot. And I wish the best of luck to all of you for continued improvements to New Jersey's higher education organization, higher education institutions. And I wish Eric, our newest board member, newest member to the board, I wish him the best of luck, and all of you. And it's just been such an educational and enlightening experience, and really thank you so much for that. Those warm comments that you mentioned, and just know that I'm feeling the same way.
Thank you, Ridgely. I'd like to request a motion approving the resolution.
So move, Lewis.
Moved by Lewis. I will second. Cheryl, would you please read the roll?
Josh Fotis.
Yes.
No, Ridgely, do you vote on the resolution? Ridgely
I'm
Hutchinson.
going to abstain.
Luis Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ryan Feeney.
Yes.
Dr. Bridges.
Yes.
Eric Engstrom.
Yes.
All.
Great, thank you. I'd like to remind everybody that our next regularly scheduled meeting is on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, and that meetings will continue to be conducted via Zoom until further notice. I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Rich, I will second. Cheryl, would you please read the roll?
Josh Otis,
Yes.
Richard Hutchinson.
Yes.
Louis Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ryan Feeney,
Yes.
Dr. Bridges,
Yes.
Eric Engstrom.
Yes.
All good.
Great, thank you, everybody. Have a safe holiday. Thanks so much.
Happy
Thank
holidays,
you.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Take care.
You too. Have a good day.